Hi, welcome to Dave's Shop. I'm Dave. In last week's episode, we did a sign for the shop. In this week's episode, I'm going to review how I created a sign in the Vectric Cut2D software. So follow along and I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, once you have your program open, we're going to create a new file. And the job setup is single-sided. It's 15 inches by 15 inches. And it's 3/4 of an inch thick. Set zero position is on the material surface. And the XY datum position is in the lower right front corner. Click OK. Now that we have our work surface set up, we're going to go up to Import Bitmap, and we're going to bring in our picture. Now that's smaller than we want. We want to increase the size, so we select it and drag it up to the top left. And grab the bottom corner and drag it down to the bottom right. Now we want to make sure this is centered on the work surface. So with it selected, we want to go over to Align Selected Objects. And we want to align to the material. And if you click on the center one, it will center it to the material. It didn't move, so it looks like we had it centered. So close that window. Now what we want to do with this selected, we want to go over and do a trace bitmap. This will help to generate the graphic we need to create our toolpaths. I've used this already once, so it defaulted to what I had last time. We're going to leave it at black and white. We're going to leave the number of colors at 0.5. We're going to leave the corner fit to 89% tight. Noise filter is 2 pixels. Bitmap fading is 52%. And we'll hit preview. Then we'll hit apply and close. So now we have the image traced. We go up to the layer section and click on it, and it'll show you that we have 2 layers. One is the bitmap layer and one is layer 1. Layer 1 is where we traced it. So we want to turn off the bitmap layer, and you do that by hovering over the light bulb and clicking it. As soon as you do that, it disappears and then you're just left with the trace component. Click on it and you'll see that everything is highlighted. So we want to ungroup this so that we can trace out individual areas. You do that by right-clicking on the diagram, go to Ungroup Objects, ungroup back onto original object layers. Click off the object, and now you can click on anything that you want to trace individually, or you can select them as a group component. We want to create the toolpath for the circle first, so we highlight it, go to Toolpaths, and we want to create a profile toolpath. We're going to leave the cutting depth start at 0, and we're going to cut to 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125. We already have a 1/8 inch end mill selected. If you wanted to change that, you would just click here on select and follow the prompts, which I'll show you later, as we're going to have to go to a 1/16 end mill to get the fine detail in our third toolpath. We want to leave the machine vector to carve on the line, not outside or inside of it. And we don't want to add tabs. That's only for when you're cutting through the material. We don't need to add ramps at this point. And we want to change the name. So I like to use a number format and a name that I'm going to know what it is. And basically this shows me that it's the first toolpath and it's for the circle profile. Hit calculate. And now we'll just adjust the speed a bit and we'll click on play so we can preview the selected toolpath in the 3D view. There, once it's showing yellow, it's complete. Now we want to go back to the 2D profile. We want to click off so we can deselect the circle. And now we want to create a group of everything but the circle. We want to go to toolpaths and we want to create a pocket toolpath. So again, we're going to start at 0, which is the surface. We're going to cut to 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125. We want to use a 1/8 end mill and not the 1/16 right now. So we're going to hit remove, select, when your tool database pops up, click on the one that you want. In this case, we're going to use the 1/8 inch end mill. I'm going to select it. It's going to do it in 5 passes at an offset. The only other thing we need to add is a title for it. So this one we're going to call 2 pocket, and we're going to say 0.125. That way we'll know it's with the 1/8 bit. So we're going to calculate it. And it shows you the preview. So now we want to click play and watch it trace it out. Now this is a lot quicker than you'll see on your actual machine as well. There, once it's in yellow, because I have the global fill color set to yellow, it shows what it looks like when it's completed. So we'll close that. We'll go back to the 2D view, and with it still selected, we're going to create another pocket toolpath. And this time, the only thing we'll need to change is we do want to change the end mill back to a 1/16. So we want to remove the 1/8, select, open the tool database, and we want to select the 1/16. And what this will do is it'll be able to give us better definition of the objects that we have there. You don't need to change anything else other than, again, we want a new name for the title. So it's 3. And we'll call it pocket. And this time we'll put 0.0625, which is 1/16. Hit calculate. And that's the highlighted area. It'll show you the toolpath. And now we'll run it. And you can see it going around and getting more detail now with the smaller bit. It's doing the numbers. It's doing the top words now. And it's always good to use the preview toolpaths, just so you can see where it's going to go and what's happening. That way, if you see a problem, you'll be able to capture it before you actually do it on your wood. Right now, it's going around through the hammers. we just got to wait for it to do the last two letters in the word custom. There you go. And it's done, just like that. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to save the toolpaths, because that's what you're going to use to actually cut it out. So go back and click on circle profile, the number 1. Click on the Save Toolpath icon. Click Save Toolpath and click Save. And you do this for each of the other two toolpaths as well. Close. Click on the third one. Save. Save toolpath. And save. So now you have all 3 toolpaths saved. Close. And the last thing you want to do is you'll want to click on Save to save the current file. That way you'll have it in case you want to run and make another sign. Now we're going to slip over to the other software that will actually show you what the G code looks like. So in this case, I'm using the Candle version. And when you open it, it shows no code available at this time, and it shows you your controls so you can manipulate your CNC machine straight from this program. I usually connect my laptop to the actual controller, and I do all my zeroing here as well as my Z Pro calculation and setting my 0 for my Z, and I use the jog features to move it around. So the first thing we want to do is we want to file open. We happen to be in the directory that I need to be in. Click on all files, and this is the one we want to bring in first. It's the one marked 1 circle profile. And this is what it'll look like. It gives you a preview window, and it gives you all the code down here. It also tells you length of time is approximately 5 minutes 26 seconds. And once you have everything homed and ready to go, the last thing you would do is you would click on send. These buttons are all grayed out right now because I'm not connected to the machine. And when you hit send, this little icon here is your actual tip. It'll show it as it moves around and follows the path, so you'll be able to see where you're at while it's doing it. Now I'll just close this one and I'll show you the other two. So we want to look at the number 2 pocket, which is for the 1/8 drill bit, or end mill, sorry. And it shows you again the direction to travel, all the holes it needs to get, all the pockets it needs to cut out. And it gives you a rough time here of 32 minutes. Everything else is the same. So both the first and the second will both be cut using a 1/8 inch bit. But the third one, which is the 1/16th, you'll have to do a bit change, which you don't actually see here, but you will if you watch the video when we do the actual cutting. So here you can see now with the 1/16th, a lot more detail shows up. And again, the buttons are all grayed out, but you would do your tool bit change, make sure you're at home, and then you would hit send. And that's all there is to it. I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions or concerns, drop me a line.
So it wasn't as hard as you thought it would be, was it? Join me next time and we'll take on another craft. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification for future shows.